FlossTube. Welcome to my channel. My name's LaDonna, and my channel is Sampling of Memories. So if you have stumbled across me for the first time, welcome. And if you have visited with me previously, thank you for joining me again. I do appreciate it. I know that as the FlossTube community grows, there are more and more wonderful shows to watch. You want to squeeze them all in, and you want to keep up. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to follow me and just kind of join along, leaving comments. I do really appreciate it. So, well, let's see here. I don't even know where to start because it's been a few weeks. So I may be a little bit more all over the place than I normally am. But for those of you who follow, which I think pretty much everyone in the FlossTube community probably knows who Priscilla and Chelsea is, my shirt came. So I thought, what a great time to do a FlossTube. So it arrived today. I got the notification that it was shipped, and then I come home and there's the package waiting for me. So if you're wondering about the shirts, they do, I have a long sleeve shirt underneath this as well. So it's a little bit, it's still pretty roomy. I mean, I ordered a large. I don't like things tight through here, so I usually go up a size. So this is, honestly, this is perfect. So you don't have all that excess fabric. And then, like I said, remember I do have another shirt on underneath this because I just threw this on. I was going to show it, but I thought I might as well just wear it. So today I'm stitching with the housewives, and I'm looking forward, actually, I'll be going to Minnesota in a couple weeks. So I'm looking forward to actually meeting them in person. I know you always feel like you know somebody because you're watching them on TV or you're following them on Instagram or their blog or whatever it is. But it's always interesting when you finally meet them in person because you're like, okay, are they really like they are? And pretty much most people that I have met are exactly the way they are. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I had a great time when I went out there last year. I got to meet Farm Girl for the first time, Michelle Rudy, and I mean, I don't like calling out people because I always forget people, or I remember their channel name and not their names. I needed to meet a lot of people that I had been following and watching, and so that was neat. So I'm looking forward to going back, and then this time it'll be a little bit different because Priscilla and Chelsea will be there. You know, I had to get the t-shirt, but I also thought now I actually have one of my pieces of wardrobe ready to go because I figure if we're going to be stitching with them at the retreat, I might as well have the shirt, right? If you want to know more about the shirts and everything, I'm sure you can pop on over to their channel and see what all the shirts are about, but you can get it through the Fat Quarter Shop. Put the links and everything down below in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, to kind of bring you up to date. How's that? Let's see here. What's some of the things I've been up to? So there has been stitching, which I will show that in a second. So don't fall off your chairs, okay? Because my stitching time is very limited. Because I mean, I do work full time. I'm an HR professional. I have 3 boys. One's not home anymore, but the 2 are still here. My mother-in-law moved in with us, so that was kind of a huge little disruption. Honestly, that was a huge disruption. I didn't think it would be that big of a disruption, but anyway, it was. It's amazing how set in your ways you kind of get, and as I'm getting older, I'm pretty set in my ways. That's been an adjustment, so that's kind of affected my little, you know, my momentum of what I'm doing. And then of course my accessories, you guys, I love making them, and I love that you guys enjoy using them because you guys have kept me pretty busy over the past year, which I enjoy. It gives me my excuse me, my time to come into my craft room and just kind of de-stress and enjoy just putting the pieces together and getting them off to the shops for you guys, or interacting with you guys one-on-one when you contact me. I appreciate it and I enjoy it. But and I know we're all busy, but that's kind of why I don't always have a lot of stitching, is because I work full time. So by the time I get home, there's only so much time in a day, right? Let's see here. A couple weeks ago, I live outside of the DC area. So there was a French Emporium. So it was put on by, I think the French Needle was the main person that coordinated it, but there were several vendors there. It was a great little show. I didn't go last year. This was the second time that they did it. So if you're in the area, or if you're close enough to where you can make a day trip out of it, do it, because they had some really great vendors, very different stuff, lots of vintage sewing tools, fabrics, buttons, and all kinds of stuff, books, and I'm trying to think what else I saw. Some primitive pieces for your house, but they were more like for your a dollhouse or for small display. But it was definitely worth the trip. And then the other thing too is, if you're traveling into the area in March, Woodlawn Plantation, which is down by Mount Vernon, they have an annual needlework show. So that's put on by Nellie's Needlers, which for those of you who don't know, Woodlawn is actually the home that George Washington gifted to Martha's granddaughter, Nellie. You can go through, look at the house, and then look at all the needlework that they have on display and see what some of the winning entries are. So it's a neat little, it's a day if you wanted to make it that way. If you're coming into the area, you could do something like the French Emporium and then go to Woodlawn and have lunch at their, they have a tea that goes on, which is always really good, and that's a nice little treat. And then go and walk through the house and see the pieces that people have put on display and entered into the needlework exhibit, because it's also a needlework show. So it's a judged show. Ribbons, there's a People's Choice that you can vote on, so you could actually make it a nice little day. The French Emporium, though, when I went, there was so much to take in that I walked around for a little while just kind of going, whoa, to process everything, because that's just how I am. But one of the, and I'll put the contact information down below. I didn't really buy a lot because I'm trying to downsize what I already have, because we're hoping to put the house on the market in a couple years. So I'm being really choosy. But there was a lady that when I walked in, her name is Cynthia Crane's Pottery, and I will put her contact information down below, because I do believe, let me see here. Yes, it's called the Crane's Nest. I'm just going to, well, it's got her telephone number in it, so I probably shouldn't just flash it up on like that. I will put it down below so that you can go to her Etsy shop if you want to. But she made these, she made ceramic buttons. But she also had this little sheep, and you know, all of us, we love our sheep. So I just thought that was the cutest little ornament. It's flat on the back with her name and everything, but I just thought it was very sweet, and I have it hanging on my bulletin board that I hang my threads from and some of my hoops. So I just have it hanging at the top because I just thought it was very sweet. And then the Truffle Pig, I think that's the right name. It's a group of, there's several women that are part of the group. They have antique sewing tools, the buttons, the, you know, the advertising, those types of things. But they also make these really cute little pin cushions. So they have some, I actually bought this one. It's a little tiny tomato with its strawberry. And they have watermelon, they have, I think, orange slices, but they have all these just adorable little pin cushions that are filled with emery, so you can, you know, use it. They use velvet. I believe it's crushed velvet. That's what it looks like to me. That's what I'm going with to make these, but they're just adorable. And then one of the ladies had an antique tomato pin cushion with the strawberries, so I picked that one up as well. But they will take some of the person who does the pin cushions, she'll take like the sewing caddies, the spool holders, and she'll make an animal that'll go on top. So I'll link her her information down below so that you can go check her out. I don't know if she has an Etsy store or not, but all of her pieces are like works of art, but they're just amazing. And a lot of them are one of a kind because it depends on what the sewing tool is that she's using. But she has a lot of like, animals. So like a little pillow. One of them was like a little pillow with, I think, it was a chicken with the little chicks following her. So just really cute stuff. But it was definitely worth the trip. So if you ever have a chance, check it out. Let's see here. I'm trying to, my head's spinning here. You may not be able to see it. Oh, and this is the other thing too. So I finally figured out what all the hype is for these because these are addictive. So the first one I bought, and I have it on my craft table because I thought this kind of just sums up my life. Crazy, right? I keep my little paint brushes and my jump ring, doohickey, pliers, whatever I don't know what they're called. But then I went back and I've kind of gradually... Every time HomeGoods is now my favorite store. But this is honestly one of my favorite ones because when I saw it, I was like, oh yes, because I could just sit here like this all day long. Mom! Mom! So, I didn't put anything in it because I knew I'd spill it. But I just thought, wow, that's like perfect because, like I said, Mom! Hold the cup up and say, let me enjoy my cup of coffee in my peace and quiet. All right, so there is stitching, which I know that probably is surprising for some of you guys, but this has been like a project that's taken me forever. I believe I started this, I know I started this at the Midwest Cross Stitchers Retreat, which was in October. So, but here we go. I've made progress. By Blackbird Designs, which I'm sure most of you have already seen or are familiar with. So Eleanor is almost done actually. I just have this little bit here to do. So hopefully I'll get that done before I actually go to Minnesota again. But I have another secret project that I have to work on for that. So that's going to take precedence for a little while. But this is, I'm doing the darker. Also have the Sweet Baby, so you can make it into a birth sampler if you want to. So there's the Sweet Baby with a little bit more colorful options there. And then this one is the Eleanor Rigby. I said Rigsby, didn't I? It's Rigby. And I should know that. But anyway, it's the first one in the Magical Mystery Tour of the Beatles. So for those of you who don't know, I came across a piano a few years ago at an auction, and it sat downstairs forever. I just fell in love with it. I paid $10 for it. And so I finally figured maybe I should start learning how to play the piano, which I did. And so then I think my husband got tired of me playing on the Baldwin Aerosonic that I had, and we went to the piano shop in town, and I fell in love with the piano. A baby grand piano, Kanabi, 1932 burled walnut, which is what sold me because most baby grand pianos are black, and they're usually Steinway or Kawasaki. So Kanabi is actually a manufacturer that was in Baltimore, so which isn't that far from here. But what I really loved is that it has the legs are more like a French provincial, and it has the burled walnut because it's not black. So I was like, that's my piano. And so my husband bought that for me. And so now it's in our living room, and I had this huge wall around the piano, and I'm like, what am I going to put on the piano? So I had the brilliant idea of doing all of the Beatles designs that Blackbird did, and then interspersing it with maybe some ads, some old ads from Kanabi to kind of break it up some. But so that's my plan. So I've got one done, almost. So I think I have my work cut out for me. So when I show this on Instagram, I've had some questions pop up about the stand. So This stand, I had never seen one before. A few years ago, I took a class through the through the Williamsburg School of Embroidery, I think it is the name, and I'll double check because I'm bad with names. Didn't used to be, but I'm getting bad with names. They had the Royal School of Needlework come over and the instructors, and I had signed up for a crewel class, and this was what was waiting for us, was the stand. They were there for the classes, but we had the option if we wanted to, instead of them shipping them back to England, was for us to be able to buy them if we wanted them. So I was like, yeah, I want that. But what's really nice about this is I can either, there's a table version, so you can clamp it onto the edge of your table. But this one actually you can put right under your leg. And so let me show you. It adjusts here. So this is just, you can see how, I mean, you can have a base like this, or you can have the table clamp. So this just goes right in here, and you can adjust it to the height that you need. And it just sits right under here, which this is a bad chair for me to do. But what's nice about it is you can put it to the right. I always just put it in front of me because that's easier for me to stitch. But what's nice about it is it adjusts very easily, so I can get to the back of my work when I need to put my threads in back here, or if, you know, I've got an issue going on back here and I need to fix it. It flips up really easy, and then it flips right back down. I can move it. I mean, it's very user-friendly, and it's, you know, lets you really move it around. But what I really enjoy about it is I like my fabric to be tight. I mean, it's pretty taut. I like that. And I also like the ability to be able to, there's a train wreck going on in my head right now. Oh my goodness. And there was another point I wanted to make too. Oh, the most important part that I like about it is I can use both hands. So I can keep one hand up above and work, and then I have the other one down at the bottom, so I can stitch a lot faster. So I know a lot of folks right now are doing the stitching in hand. For me personally, especially with linen, I end up, if I try to do in hand or the sewing method, I end up with twisted threads, or my threads will be loose instead of nice and taut. And when you're, to me, when you're working on linen, especially, I just like it. I just like this to be nice and tight. And then, because my tension, I'm usually not a real tight stitcher. So for me, by the fabric being nice and even and pulled, I'm able to put my needle into the holes much easier. And I'm also able to, I don't have to pull as hard on the threads as I would if I was sewing in hand. It gives me, I can really see how it's going to lay. So for me, that's what works. It keeps my linen pretty nice and clean. I do take it out. What I do as well is I have a little, and I didn't bring it in here with me, but I have this little teeny tiny antique screwdriver, a handmade screwdriver. And so I use that to tighten this here. But it's just, I just fell in love with this. It's not big and bulky. It works with, you know, I can have a tabletop. If I'm at a retreat and I have a tabletop in front of me, it works. If I have nothing in front of me, it works. I can put, you know, my light, my, works great with my glasses, the craft optic glasses. But it just, I just love it. Now, because I have all this excess fabric here, I just have one of these wonder clips to hold it up and out of my way. But you can adjust it here as well. So there's you can loosen it up here if you don't want it, if you want more flexibility to be able to turn it around if you want. One of the things that I did was, and my dog's barking. She sounds like she's Cujo, but she's a standard poodle. She's not going to hurt anybody. If anyone did come in our house, she'd run the other way probably. and probably tinkle in the process. But anyway, so this is something that a lot of you are familiar with, the Duchess hoops, and they have the piece of felt that goes on the inside. This actually is binding tape that you put around at an angle. So let me hold this up so you can see what I did. And if anyone's interested, I can do a tutorial. It's this is the first time I've actually put the binding around the hoop, but what I like about it is it really makes my fabric tight. So if you're someone that doesn't like your fabric tight, you may not want to do this, but it keeps the fabric from moving around, which is nice, so that once you get it set in the hoop, or set up, as the lady said from London, you're good to go. And it really doesn't leave the nasty marks on your fabric, which is nice, especially if you're working with linen. But a lot of people will just do either the inner or the outer hoop. I did both. So I really highly recommend it if you are someone that uses a hoop and you're trying to figure out a way to keep your fabric from getting those crimp marks and those lines, and to stay in place once you have it in the hoop. I highly recommend it. But I will put all of the information down below as far as the name of the manufacturer for the hoop and the stand, and sources. I think I have two. So I have one that's looks like it's about a 10-inch. This one I believe is 8. I'm looking to see if I have a ruler handy, and I don't. I have it put away. So this is nice for smaller projects. Let's see here, what else is nice about it? It's just, I mean, it's really a simple little tool. It's not very expensive. I think this was like $60, which I don't think is that bad for as much use as I get out of it. And then the other one that I have, like I said, it's a little bit bigger. So I highly recommend, like I said, if you're a hoop person, I highly recommend this. Let's see here. I'm trying to think what else is going on. Oh, if you're interested in me doing a tutorial, let me just, drop a note down below, and I'll just do a real fast video showing how to put this together. So, and some things to avoid that I learned kind of the hard way when I had to redo it. So I think that's it. So I was hoping to keep this one nice and short, so hopefully I was able to do that. Once again, thanks so much for spending some time with me. If you have some favorite tools or tricks of the stitching trade and want to share them, please leave a comment below. As I've said previously, I'm not someone who does a lot of, I'm not one that puts out a video with any consistent schedule. I'll put it that way. So if you want to be notified the next time one of my videos drops, be sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell so that you get the notifications. And you can always find me on Instagram, Facebook. All my contact information, I've included it below. Once again, thanks so much for stopping by. And I believe, I'm going to have to double check this, but I think I'm right around my 1-year FlossTube versary. So I believe my first one was April of last year, and I think this is my 10th one. So that tells you I'm not I'm not going to overwhelm you with notifications that a new video is dropped. How's that? But I'm usually on Instagram is usually where you can really find me, because it's nice and quick and easy. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Wishing all of you the best, and hope your spring, I know a lot of you are getting snow in the Midwest and having to deal with that, so hopefully a lot of you will start to see some of the warmer spring weather that we are starting to enjoy here in Virginia. Thanks.